you think it's going to be sort of steamy and horny, and it definitely is. But then it then turns into and really touches on many issues surrounding being a high-performing athlete and having to deal with potentially losing marketing and money if you are out about your sexuality. I think these characters really revealing their love to each other. And at the end of episode 5 particularly, it really kind of knocks you out for 6 because it takes you off guard.
Scott Bryan is here to talk telly, as he does with us every single Wednesday afternoon. So,
Afternoon.
Yes, hello, how are you? YouTube bigger than BBC shock. Is it really?
Not really that much of a shock. I mean, basically, what has happened in the last few years has been a massive rise of YouTube, not just in terms of people looking at videos on the internet, but also from watching them on TV. Because smart TVs, if you look on a remote control, they all have buttons now, one for Netflix, but many also have them for YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think a growing number of people have realised, why am I relying on a TV schedule of shows during the day, magazine programs, food shows, property shows, when I can have very well thoughtful, in many cases, very in-depth content on YouTube that's algorithmically led. When my dad was with us, he was watching pretty much all day, every day, long-form videos about aircraft and military history. Mm-hmm. And he found it a great comfort, much more so than what he was sort of complaining about, the dreariness of daytime TV. So
right.
I think that's a massive factor. So the challenge is now, of course, if you're the BBC with limited resources, you're thinking, oh, hang on now, do we have to now also make content for YouTube as well as iPlayer and Sounds? The BBC says previously that they haven't really been specific about what content they would make. I mean, I think that the Reefian values of inform, educate and entertain are certainly more vital than ever, particularly in the age of misinformation on the internet. But the main issue is, firstly, the cost of it. You have to make different content than the regular content you would post on iPlayer or elsewhere. And secondly, dealing with the algorithm. You'll be competing with maybe a train spotter in Sunderland to beat your views potentially, just because you're an established broadcaster doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah, okay. It's such a... I mean, couldn't the BBC make a virtue of putting some of its archive out on YouTube, or is it already there?
They certainly can. If you look at other broadcasters, ITV do, Channel 4 do. Channel 4, these commercial broadcasters, I think, aren't as ring-fenced as the BBC are, because if you think about it, yes, you could put BBC content on YouTube, but then that could technically mean everyone else from the world could then watch BBC shows, and of course they've not paid it through the licence fee. So that creates a big issue and headache for the BBC as well. So I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's not necessarily easy either.
But maybe if its funding model changed, it would be easier. Anyway, that's a bigger question, I guess. Let's just move on to heated rivalry, because that's what we really want to talk about. Now, this
finally.
Yes, finally, you've got your opportunity. It's about a love affair between two male ice hockey stars. Why is it causing such a sensation?
It really is causing a sensation. I think the expectation going into Christmas was that everyone was going to be talking about the final episodes of Stranger Things released on Netflix. And I don't think anyone predicted it was going to be a small Canadian TV show about ice hockey that was only available initially in Canada and America, that most of the viewers have actually illegally streamed. I think from watching it, the chemistry between the two leads, Hudson Williams and Connor Story, is sensational. It's believable. I think it's also shot, with a very limited budget, yes, but it really keeps your attention. I think it doesn't waste a moment. It's immediately click, love affair, and it takes you on that way. And I think it's also a show that brings you in on one thing and takes you in another. You think it's going to be sort of steamy and horny, and it definitely is. But then it then turns into and really touches on many issues surrounding being a high-performing athlete and having to deal with potentially losing marketing and money if you are out about your sexuality. I think these characters really revealing their love to each other. And at the end of episode 5 particularly, it really kind of knocks you out for 6 because it takes you off guard. I think what's not all of it is perfect per se. I think some parts of it are a little bit one-dimensional. But as a kind of a show that really kind of goes off in an expectation you didn't expect, I can see why it has become so popular so quickly.
There is a plot, is there then, for sure?
There is a plot.
Yes, I'm just checking. Now, there's a few little bits of news around today, actually, of some significance. Netflix's reported plan to switch to an all-cash offer to buy Warner Brothers and to see off Paramount. This is potentially quite interesting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, because what we've had so far, I mean, it's been very complicated, but you've had, Warner Brothers Discovery potentially, well, it is being split into two businesses. Then you've had two different offers trying to take charge of this large media company that does everything from cinema releases to live sports. And I think so far, initially it was going to be Skydance, who also owns CBS. And of course got links to movie studios were going to take an offer. Then what is currently Warner Brothers Discovery weren't that interested in their offer because there's been lots of reported fallings out about the people making that bid. So then Netflix swooped in and really surprised Hollywood by sort of, attempting billions of amounts of money, cash, to turn to buying this, which would have really shaken up Hollywood. That's also had some detractors too. And I think essentially to fend off this rival bid, now Netflix have said, look, we'll make it all cash. So I think they're trying to use what they can to essentially put the doubters, the shareholders, from going with the other offer.
Right.
I mean, it's still not clear cut because Trump might have his own idea about this.
Oh, I'm sure he will. Yeah. And he won't be backing Netflix, will he?
No. I mean, he's been quite clear. But I mean, if there's one thing we know about Trump is that he's unpredictable.
Let's also, those of us who are fans of Channel 4 News will be interested to hear that Cathy Newman is leaving. She's going to Sky News. And she's going to be up against her old show because she's going to do Sky News' 7 o'clock daily politics show. I guess she might just feel that she wasn't being used properly or used enough by Channel 4.
I mean, possibly. I mean, she's been the face of Channel 4 News now for, I think, 20 years. I think what Sky News are trying to do is poach people or make big names out of their existing talent and not just have them fronting the TV coverage during the day when linear TV viewing for news channels is generally decreasing, but trying to give them investigative podcasts, make them sort of part of the news coverage online as well, and that's what they're doing with Cathy. So maybe it's the fact that Sky News also have a great offer to give her to maybe make her the face of the channel rather than just one particular show.
Scott, always good to have you on. Thank you very much indeed. And Cathy, of course, is part of the Times Radio lineup as well. She's here on a Friday. 4 o'clock is when you'll catch Cathy Newman live here on Times Radio on a Friday. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, well
did I
done.
get all the facts right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
absolutely in the right order.
Slightly
as well.
fluky.
Yeah, brilliant.
Brilliant.